Yo, it's your boy Ninja Spaghetti here, and welcome back to another game review. Today's review will be over Until Dawn. It was a game I finished most recently, and what I'm going to start doing with game reviews and stuff, after I finish the game, I'll play the game, and then I'll do a game review every time. So don't worry about any of the new game reviews if I won't make them, because if I play a game, I'll do a review on it. And these are my favorite videos to make, and they seem to do pretty well. So I'll keep making them, and yeah, let's just get into the review. Really, Until Dawn is an interactive drama horror video game developed by Supermassive Games and published by Sony Computer Entertainment for PlayStation 4. This game plays and feels a lot like a horror slasher film, and honestly, I think it'll be a good movie. But that's enough background. Let's start the review. The best way to start is with a short summary. Players assume control of 8 young adults who have to survive on Blackwood Mountain when their lives are threatened. The game features a hyperlink cinema XQ for its multilinear narratives and butterfly effect system in which players make choices that change the story. All playable characters can survive or die depending on the choices made. Players explore environments from a third-person perspective and find clues that may help solve the mystery. How I feel about the story. I'm not going to say too much about the story because I don't really want to spoil it, even though the game's 5 or 6 years old by now. I still don't want to spoil it for anybody that hasn't played it yet. So I'm just going to start like this. Overall, I really enjoyed the story. Every character seems to work well with each other, and the plot gives off a feel of a good old classic horror movie, which are some of my favorite movies. The characters that I hate, I think you're supposed to hate, and the characters that I like, I think you're supposed to like. I feel like the characters were created perfectly. Everyone did a great job voice acting. The ending was pretty good, but the only thing I don't like is how they say every choice you make matters, even though the only thing that changes is who's alive at the end of the story. But other than that, it's a really solid story. Moving right along with the graphics. Like I said before, this game's about 5 or 6 years old, and for almost 6-year-old game, at the time of this video, the graphics are really good. They really outdid themselves with the graphics of this game. Everything from the environment to the character models looks great. Especially in 2015 when this game was made, the graphics were phenomenal, and they still hold up to this day. One thing I enjoyed more than anything was the location. I'm happy to decide on a top of a snowy mountain. Anytime a game has snowy atmosphere, I'm all for it. Like for example, my favorite zombies map is Dreisendracht, a map on Call of Duty Black Ops 3, and that's a snowy map. I don't know, I guess it just makes me feel cozy and at home. Like you want to get a good old mug of hot chocolate, sit in front of the fire, And I must say, the snow looks really good. I guess there's not much else I can say about the graphics. It's just great. They look great. That's pretty much it. Now, if you know me, you know I love music. And what is a good game without a good soundtrack? So let's talk about the soundtrack. Now, Until Dawn is a pretty good soundtrack. There are a few bangers in this game. A couple times I was bobbing my head to some of the hits. My favorite one though is a song you hear at the start of the game, and I think it's the same song at the end of the game but before the credits, so it's a pretty good soundtrack overall. Once again, there's not much I can say about a soundtrack. You just have to listen to it yourself, really. Music is subjective, so what I might like may not be your cup of tea. But, you should give it a try anyways. Like, who knows, you might like it. There's some atmospheric things, but there's also some actual, songs on here, and I really enjoyed them. I would recommend 100%. But I'm a music nerd, so that's just me. So, now you heard everything else, up to the controls. How are the controls? Well, this game controls really greatly. There never really a point where I got stuck on anything besides There was one point, for some reason, I was going up or down the stairs, and Mike is a character in the game, but every time I would go up some stairs, Mike would turn around a couple times and go down them. I'm like, bro, I'm trying to go up. Like, dude. Now, it wasn't a big issue mostly. It didn't even take away from the experience, but I don't know. I just find that weird. But other than that small stair thing, everything was perfect. Every controlled worked like it's supposed to. And with the game with a lot of quick time events, I'm glad that everything worked properly. Because if not, I would be ending the game with no survivors every time. Like, insane. But everything works pretty good. So, what's my final rating of Until Dawn? After all those controls, graphics, soundtrack, and everything, let's add it up. I say so. I say the story was about 8.5 out of 10. You know, it's a pretty solid story. Would definitely recommend watching if it was a movie. Graphics, 10 out of 10. Very great. Soundtrack, it's a 9 out of 10. And the controls are also another 9 out of 10. But that's just separate, on their own. But my full opinion, I think the game's at 8.5 out of 10. It's a really good game with tons of replayability and pretty easy to 100% the trophies. The things that brings it down is that it's another one of those games that just relies on the butterfly effect implement, and that would be fine, but your choices don't really matter the overall ending. It's just who you end up the game with that's still alive by the end, you know? So instead of drilling that in your head throughout the entire game, just don't bother with the butterfly effect thing, and then you got Game of the Year. Besides that, the game is really enjoyable, and I would recommend fully to anybody who wants to play a good horror game. And it's pretty cheap, you know, only $20. So if you got it, I'd cop this game, to be honest. But that's it for another review, basically. The next review will be on Resident Evil 7 Biohazard. As you see, I'm just finishing up that playthrough. I have one more part. I'm on 7 at the time of recording this video. But by the time this one comes out, I should be done with Resident Evil 7 and working on the review. And the next game, what's coming up is my next game that I'm going to be playing is The Last Guardian. And that one is really fun, and I can't wait to jump into it with you guys. But that's all for me for now. Hope you have a wonderful day, wonderful weekend, and watch out for that snow out there in case you're getting some snow. But that's it from me. Have a saucy day, and deuces.
W krainę zapomnienia, w głowie myśli mam, kiedy skończy się ten stan, gdy już nie będę sam, bo wiedzie biały węgorz.